CFFC 134, August 16th. And I mean, I hear they need a new main event. So who better
That's the rumor mill, yeah.
who better than Chris Daukaus? Chris, how we doing,
Yeah.
man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good,
Sucks
man.
sucks to hear that Luke pulled out, but I was really getting excited to see him fight. I want to say it's been a while since he fought last. Like it's been like I want to say a year almost. So
I think it was in December or I don't have it pulled up in front of me. It's either December or like April, but it's been
yeah,
it's been a while because he had the last cancellation. Will pulled out, and then now
yeah.
Luke has a knee injury, so they
Not
can't
good,
make it
man.
happen.
Not good, man. He's a good
But
dude, training with him a bunch, so I'm really pulling for him.
yeah, I know you guys know each other, and he speaks highly of the Dawkins
Yeah.
brothers too. But like I said, they kind of need a new main event. So have you heard anything? Is that you and Tafon now?
Yeah. I have not heard anything. I've not been contacted. No one's reached out. I'm assuming. I mean, just you know, logistically, I would assume that would be the case. I haven't. Nothing was conveyed. No one reached out to me. Arias, Rob, no one's said anything. So I guess we're kind of just figuring everything out. I mean, yeah. So I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, the only thing that's going to matter is like I'm not going to do like 5 rounds because I haven't been training for 5 rounds. But
Right.
yeah. But outside of that, yeah, I'm down. Why not?
And then I mean, this is going to be a lot of people's first time seeing you talk since the UFC. So I guess
Yeah.
let's start there, man. Like,
All right. Cool.
I don't know if there was an official Chris is released. I never saw like an official like Chris is released. He's no longer with
Yeah.
the
No.
UFC. It was like rumor mill. So how'd
Yeah.
this happen? Why are we back to Cage Fury?
Uh. So I took the 4 losses. And then I was injured. Um. I had an injury. I don't want to say what the injury was, but I honestly know the type of injury I had. No athletic commission was going to sanction me to fight. Um. Could it have been better conveyed to the matchmakers in the UFC? Yeah, it was a type of injury that it happened. Let's say it happened on a Wednesday, and then they reached out. The UFC reached out about a fight or something like less than 2 days later, maybe 3 days later. I told them I have an injury. I'll send you all the documentation. I can't fight, and then that was pretty much like, all right, sorry, but that's the end of the road. And I said, all right, no problem. Like, if you guys want, I'll fight out my contract because I still had 2 fights left on my contract. So I said, if you, um, I'll fight the guy whoever you guys want me to fight. You just have to let me heal up for another, however long it was going to take, and then we'll get it going, and I'll fight out my contract. And if you're not going to resign me, you're not going to resign me. No big deal, no hard feelings. That's just how the business goes. But at the end of the day, they're the ones in control. They're pretty much just said, you know, have a good day. Thanks for everything you did. And then, get some wins, do what you got to do to get back. And then we'll call you afterwards. So I said, all right, let's go.
And I mean, Cage Fury is, in my opinion, a great promotion to be fighting for, anyways.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like, and you're no stranger with them, clearly.
No,
So
no,
obviously, I imagine being released with the UFC isn't a great feeling, but
no.
is there any excitement to be back with Cage Fury, especially with how much they've grown since you've last been here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like there's very few promotions outside of, you would say, the big two or the big three, UFC one, and then like PFL, Bellator, whatever they're considered, that you'd want to fight for. Especially, they're really the guys who, not to like throw shade at anybody else or anybody else's promotion, but there's very few promotions outside of those guys who have the level of competition and who will give you that platform to where you can get back to that level, to that level of competition in the UFC, PFL, Bellator, or whatever it is. So the list was short as to who we were going to fight for, and it just made sense. Local guys, I have a past and a history with them. Everything's always been great with them. So yeah, it was kind of like, I want to say when Kyle fought, it was the day of weigh-ins, his last fight. I literally went to Arias. I was like, "Yo, if you guys have anything in the next couple months, I'll I'll fight on the card. Just let me know." I was a little fat at the time, so I said heavyweight. But after this fight, we'll see how this goes. Get everything back in, and I'll probably be going back down to 205. And yeah, enjoy it.
And then, I mean, is it your goal to get a few wins and get back to the UFC?
Absolutely, yeah. That's always the goal. That's always the goal. I'm not being, I'm not like thinking I'm some like 24-year-old dude. No, like yeah, the time frame is certainly shortened, but the goal is always to get wins, obviously, and the goal is always to get back to UFC, to get back to the premier organization in the sport. Now, whether the UFC decides to call, that's on them. I can't hold my breath on hoping that they call. Like if I go on a run of 4 wins, 5 wins, whatever it is, all stoppages or really exciting fights, I can't sit around twiddling my thumbs and be like they're going to call and be like, if somebody else is reaching out, obviously I'm going to make the calculated and the financial decision to go there. Like if the UFC comes back and then they're like, all right, we're going to start you back out with like their beginning contracts, and like ideally I would not like that. But then if someone else is offering, like if PFL, they're like, yeah, we'll give you a shot at the tournament, then I'll fucking do the tournament. So,
Million bucks beats 12-12, right?
exactly. Yes, it does. Yes, it certainly does.
And I mean, just what you're saying there, like I think your brother is for Kyle Daukaus is
Yeah.
proof of, it's not as easy as some might think it is to get back there. He is on such a tear, and like
Yeah.
it's still like, dude, why aren't they calling? So
Yeah.
it's not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's really you do everything they ask you. You're putting on these great performances. You're getting the finishes that get people talking, that go viral, that get people sharing things about you, and then you're expecting that call. But the UFC's going to do the UFC's thing. That's just who they are. It's just how they've always been. But the only thing you can keep doing is just doing what you can control, and he's been doing that for the past 4 fights now. So it's really just on who's going to call. Obviously, the UFC calls, he's going, but really, if you get cut, if you spend some time in the UFC, you don't get signed, you cut, and then you go on a bunch of wins and you're building your name back up. It's really kind of like almost a short notice thing. Like I don't feel that the UFC is really signing guys right away. They'll be like, all right, we'll give you 8 weeks for a fight. It's kind of like a last minute replacement type thing. It's like, all right, this guy pulled out of the fight. There's 2 weeks left. There's 3 weeks left. We want to keep this guy on the card. We want to, wherever that is, let's call, my brother. And then he'll certainly fill in. There's no doubt in my mind that if someone called Kyle on 2 weeks notice or 3 weeks notice, that he's not going to fill in. So
there's a reason people still care about the Daukaus brothers like they do.
correct.
You guys are not going anywhere. And August 14th, I think you're going to remind a lot of people. But real quick before I move on to the rest of the questions, are you able to tell me the opponent the UFC came to you with, the potential fight that could have happened, or no worries if not?
I don't know. If I can. I don't think he's fought since then. It was supposed to be Kutalibe. I was supposed to fight Kutalibe.
Ion Cutelaba or Kutalibe?
Yeah. However you say his name. Yeah. I was supposed to fight him. I forget which card it was. It was literally, dude, I fought August, so pretty much a year ago I fought, and then they called. I want to say it was closer towards the end of the year. So it was probably like November-ish, December-ish. They called and they were like, yo, can you fight? And I'm like, I can't. I got this injury, but if you give me the time to like heal up and get cleared by a doctor, I'll gladly fight him. Like it's not like I was ducking the fight or anything. I've never ducked fights, and that's just the way that my career is going, good or bad. So it's just like, yeah, I'll fight him. It doesn't matter to me. I'll fight anybody. Just give me the time to heal and put in some good training camp. So that's all it was.
I was just curious. That would have been a good fight regardless. But
yeah.
This next one, which I'll ask you about in a minute, is an even better one in my opinion. But something a fan asked me. They were like, they told them I was interviewing you, and they're like, I want to know, is Chris back to being a police officer? Is he still training full time? What's he doing?
Full time, man. Full time. I got this beard, man. There's no way that I'd be a cop with this beard.
Well, you just invest that UFC money, right?
Put that cheddar in the bank? Everything is all. Well, I don't know. The stock market took a fucking a crash the other day. So I gotta check all my numbers and see. I actually might be having to go back to the police force, but no, as of now, no, I'm not. When I split with the police department, my point of view, the way I conveyed it to the police department, I have all the paperwork and everything like that. All I said was to them was, I still want to represent you guys. I still want to be a part of the police department. All I'm asking is that you guys hold my spot as police officer. I didn't want any medical coverage. I didn't want a paycheck. I said, I just want you to hold my spot so that I didn't have to leave the department, go through a whole nother police academy. I said, just let me do this fighting thing. If this goes off, this goes off, and I'll gladly leave. If not, I'll come back. And they literally told me, they were like, you need to pick a career. It's either this or that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go fight for a living and spend all the time that I can with my family and my young kids, as opposed to working 8 to 10 hours a day dealing with nonsense. And this was right after all the riots and the protests happened. So I did all the riots, did all the protests, started to calm down, and I was like, now's the time to do it. So I walked away, and then So no, I'm just a civilian, not a cop. So yeah.
That's good, man.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So full-time training still, MMA fighting
Yeah.
still rocking.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So young fighters, invest your money when you can, and plan for the future so that you can continue to do this.
Are you more a stock guy or crypto?
Both. But I have my former partner, his wife runs a business, and she's one of the lead people in the business, and they do all of my investments, and then I'll play around with crypto here and there. If I got couple extra bucks, I'll throw it here and there, make some money, lose a bunch of money. You know how it is, man. It's gambling.
Let me tell you, me and the wife discovered there's high yield savings accounts.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah,
we're looking good right now. We're looking good right now. But back to you, Chris.
All right.
I mentioned the next fight is a banger on paper. Everybody was excited. It's not like Chris Daukaus going to Cage Fury and fighting some regional. No, it's a UFC fight. It's Tafon Nchukwi and Chris Daukaus. So, what are your thoughts on this one, man?
Super excited for the fight. I didn't think that I'd be fighting him, to be honest with you. I didn't know. I didn't know he was released.
Yeah, right.
I knew that we fought on the same card exactly a year ago. I didn't hear anything that he was released, and then I was talking to Arias, and then the next thing you know, my manager hit me up with him, and I was like, sure. I didn't realize that he was released. I figured he maybe had some extra fights on his contract, or I don't know what his contract where he was at, whether it was at the end of it or he had extras. I know he had same as me, heavyweight, then went down to 205, and then he even made the jump down to 85. And I think that was his last fight, was our same card when he was fighting at 85. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good fight. It's a fun fight for the fans. Stylistically it's good. I just think I'm a little bit better than him in every way, and that's why you're fighting, because he obviously thinks that he's better than me. So we'll see.
Is there any like prior history between you two, or just like completely random?
Nah, just completely random. I've trained with Shelton Graves, who's one of his training partners. Shelton's come up to Philly to train with us. We've helped him like sparring and stuff like that, get ready for a couple of his fights. He's come up, helped me get ready for a couple of my fights. But I want to say it's been over 2 years since we trained together, but we always like keep in contact. Like, yo, like, when's training? Can I swing by? And I'll do the same. And there's been no contact with Tafon or anything like that. There's been no like animosity on, any of my team guys or the guys that we train with who've cross trained with him. It's just, he's just the guy who's come up, and we've helped train a little bit. So yeah, it's good.
Corner wise, Martinez, BJJ, who's going to be repping?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be Kyle, obviously, will be in the corner. Pat Brady, and then Will. So the usual suspects as it is. And yeah, it'd be a good night in AC. It'll be fun. And we'll see how it goes.
Now, the next fight, I mean, obviously you got Tafon to worry about, but next fight, could we see a return to Philadelphia sharing a card with Kyle Daukaus?
Shit, I don't know. Sure, why not? I mean, I have no idea. Are they coming back to Philly? When's the?
I mean, I don't have a date, but I assume they'll be back once before.
I would assume so. Yeah, if this fight goes according to plan and everything goes the way it's supposed to go, then come out of the fight with no injuries, as long as I don't like pull a Tony Ferguson and step on a wire like on the way out of the cage and blow my knee out. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be down for another fight before the end of the year, and if CFFC decides they want to come, whether it's down to the arena or whether it's up at Parks Casino, I'm down with whatever.
2,300 all the way. Come on.
Yeah, that's actually where I had my first flight. So yeah, it's definitely funner that way.
Parks is aight, but come on, 2,300 is
Yeah, I mean Parks is literally like, dude, like 5 minutes from my house, 10 minutes, depending on if I catch a light or two. So it it would be logistically it would be ideal for Parks because I could like sleep until whenever and like not do anything and then just show up and fight. But yeah, obviously the arena is better.
And then last one for me. You said goal, obviously, UFC, PFL. Next step, you want to go
Yeah,
to, the premiere again, so to speak. Although Cage
correct,
Fury is freaking premiere, in my opinion. But
correct.
do you have goals with Cage Fury before that happens? Like, are you eyeing a belt, whether it's your buddy Luke Fernandez or going up to heavyweight? I think that belt might be vacant. Dana White Contender Series potentially. And I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but yeah, that's what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I'll say this before anybody else makes any kind of assumptions or anything like that. Uh, I have no problem with Luke. I would never challenge Luke for his belt. Um, I think that that's just weird. Now, granted, we're not like super close, but I've spent time in the room with him. I respect him as a man, as an individual. I wouldn't do that after training with him. I just feel like if you do that, that's kind of like that's like grimy and like shitty on your part.
Sure.
So I wouldn't challenge him for that. Obviously, if if it came down to it, I would talk to him about it. Like if CFFC is like, yo, this is the only fight, like this is the only, I would talk to him about it. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do it. Um, but if that's the way to get to the bigger promotions, then so be it. But that would be an absolute last resort. I would absolutely take the heavyweight belt from anybody. Doesn't matter. I'll fight anybody at heavyweight. So yeah, so if that Dana White Contender Series is a thing for the current champ who just beat Velasco, right? He just beat
Yep.
for the belt. I don't even know who the champ is. I'm super sorry about it. He fights out of what?
Bailey
Killcliff.
Schrodinger. I'm horrible with names, but Bailey.
He fights out of Killcliff or now?
I think he's a Florida boy. Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida guy,
Believe.
right?
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. That for some reason that's popping in my head. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't get signed for the Contender Series and then win this one, and then all of a sudden they want to turn around for a belt, even though I told my wife the next one would be at 205, I'll take the heavyweight strap real quick and then go from there. I mean, listen, I'm really floating in between heavyweight and 205. Obviously, I feel like I do a tiny bit better from my past performances at heavyweight. I've only had one 205 fight, so there really can't base anything off that. How I felt during the weight cut, it was perfectly fine. The weight cut had absolutely no downside to it. There was no like, you know, performance issues with going to 205. I felt great. I felt the weight cut was fine. I think I cut I want to say less than 7 pounds, less than 8 pounds the night before. So it wasn't anything crazy. Like I did legit, I might have did a sauna session for like 20, 25 minutes, or it might have been less than that just to get sweat going like 15 minutes. And then I did like the hot tub for maybe like 25 minutes and I was like a pound off and I floated overnight. So I was good. So,
And you had a long transition down to 205 too. Like you really took your time and did that proper.
yeah. We were gonna do the transition earlier. But again, I had an injury that popped up. I told the UFC about it. I wasn't going to get cleared for the fight originally, and then they just pushed the fight back. So yeah, so like I'm not like when I decide to go to 205, there's no like hiccups during fight camp. There's no hiccups during the weight cutting or anything like that. Like so, I'm always going to show up. I'm always going to be on weight. I'm always going to be ready to go.
So how do you feel about Pat Brady being the new heavyweight at Martinez? Does that piss you off?
Let's relax. Let's relax. I'm that dude. I'm still that guy. You can ask Pat. I'm still that dude. We have good sessions back and forth. We just had a good one on Sunday, so it was good. But yeah, Pat's a really good dude. I'm glad he's there. Just even outside of training camp, I think Pat's like a great guy. We've been through a lot in our relationship, so it's really good, and I'm really happy that he's got everything going on for him right now. So
Bare knuckle, freaking savage out there.
yeah, like it was that whole
Not for
experience.
me.
That was an experience, man. That was certainly was an experience. So not knocking it, not saying I would do it, but it's certainly an experience. You know, it's a fun time. It's
Like
a fun
like
time.
like I said to Pat, hey, very, very happy you won that one. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like yeah, that's
That's
why
not
there's
one
like
you want to
30
watch your
different.
friend lose, you know?
Yeah, and like you're sitting there and you like the way that the corners are set up for the bare knuckle, it's like the ring, and then they have like this giant platform around, and then you're in like the first row of like the crowd.
Hmm.
It's like super weird. So like even the distance, it was probably like 25 feet to the ring. Like we couldn't like it was further than I'm used to, especially with MMA. Like MMA, you could like grab the
Yeah.
cage, like so
It's like,
you're right
good
there.
luck out there, buddy.
Yeah, and that's what it was like. It was like I was screaming, and I'm like, "Is this dude hearing me? Like, I have no idea, like, what the hell's going on." But then once like you start hearing like fist and like bone hit bone, you're just like, "Oh, that's totally different. Like that sounds totally different than what I'm used to." And you're like, "Yeah, we're still close. I didn't realize like we're that close that I can hear shit like that, you know?" So it's definitely strange.
Y'all are savages, man. Y'all are savages.
Wow, man, it's wild.
Chris, before I get you out of here, anything you'd
Yeah.
like to say to a lot of people anticipating the return?
Nah, just you know, I'm super excited, super happy to be back in there. Thank you to absolutely everyone who's been by my side for everything. I can't thank you enough. My words won't ever express the gratitude in which that I have for everyone. And just thank you. I'll see everyone fight night, and I can't wait, man. It's gonna be fun.
Chris, Daukaus, CFFC 134, August 16th, the Hard Rock UFC Fight Pass. Chris, welcome back. Kick some ass.
Glad to be back. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.